are you? It's Vicki from Reading and Stitching. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I know I've said how are you twice, but it is what it is. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to link a video that I just did. And it is my reading challenge and some of the book reviews I did. So this is my first time doing it like this, and I would really like some thoughts and what you think about it. All right, so on there, you're gonna see in just a few minutes, if you wanna read and look at my different books, you are gonna see my TBR challenge. So my TBR challenge was I have to pick 5 cards. I have to pick 5 cards every month and go with a category. I'm looking in my planner to see what I get here, so. But go in and see what book. So here's my planner. I've got all the little deck of cards, so I'm gonna pick 5 cards. I ordered these from Amazon, y'all. They are beautiful. They are national park cards. So they're all the national parks, and it has all sorts of things. So I'm gonna pick this, and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna read. It won't be today. Today was my second day back at school, and I'm tired. So I gotta pick 5 cards, and I am shuffling. You can hear it. So I have no idea what I'm picking here. I cannot see. I'm gonna pick that one. I'm gonna pick this one. I'm gonna pick this one. We'll go here, and then this one tried to fall out. That's 5. Once I pick these, I will not pick them again. All right, so I picked, 2 7s, an ace, a 10, and a 3. Okay, well, I like it. Ace is a free pick. Ace, free pick. Actually, hang on. I think I wrote them all out. Oh, I did. So, ace is a free pick. See, they're all there, if you can read them. So I can pick anything I want, which is nice. 3 is animals as a main character or a helper. Oh, that'll be easy. I can find something like that. 10s are, whoa, why do I not have 10s? Well, I didn't write it on this, but I wrote it on my thing here, so let me write it on here. 10, oh, this will be an interesting one. Because I'm using national park cards, I didn't write it on this. 10 is set in a national park. So I've got to find some book set in one of the national parks. Okay. And I said ace was free. I did 3s. And my 7s, I've got 2. This is hilarious. 7s are romance. So I have to read 2 romance books. All right, I can do that. And that starts now, not books I've already read this month. So I've got to pick 5 different books to read. I do a lot of reading on my Kindle, and like if I'm sitting somewhere, or I do a lot of audiobooks when I'm in my car or sitting outside. Anyway, so I hope you like the books I've read. I would love your thoughts. If you find me repeating something too much, or if you think, well, Vicki, that doesn't tell me anything, I would love your input. So, but just in case, so you know, I do have a mistake on mine. This is the bingo board that I'm doing. I accidentally marked this off, but I forgot that I didn't do prompt 5, so this really doesn't count. I got to do prompt 5, which I will get that done this month. Which was read a book written by Jane Austen, author in her time. All right. So rest is about my reading challenge. These are the books that I'm going to be reading for the month of August, or 5 of the categories I'm going to read. And I will see you guys later and let you know how I'm doing. Bye. Thanks for watching, y'all. I do appreciate it. Hi, everyone. How are you? It's Vicki, and I am recording my screen today because I was going to tell you about the challenge that I'm doing this year. I am doing the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. I don't know how to say this. There's a lot of videos on it. And this was done by HRCYED. So it started on July 7th in 2004 last year, but this year she's doing a part 2. It is designed to be nearly impossible to complete. I'm just reading this. And it started July 7th. However, so July is my time to read. So what I did was I started mine July 1st, which means I have exactly 1 year to get it finished. The rules, so basically the rules are easy. I will link this, but this is the board that I have to do. I have to read all of these books. And yeah, I've started, and y'all, it's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie. I read 16 books in July. So, but I was, I kind of enjoy this. I enjoy the challenge. All right, we're going to move over. We're still going to record my screen. We're going to sign in, and we're going to go to my spreadsheet. This is my spreadsheet. So she gives you this great spreadsheet. It's all there, and I love it because I can literally click by the 100s, usually open link. Hopefully it will take me there. Yep, and it will tell me I've already done 4 of the books. So this is my tracker. So we'll talk about some of the books that I have read. Oh, I didn't link that one. Right now, we're just going to talk about my Jane Austen books because that was the challenge that I did for July, and it was like a readathon. I read I did almost all of them except for one. I was unable to finish prompt 5. So, prompt 1 was read one of Jane Austen's main novels, and I read, open link, I read Emma. So, and I gave it a 4. This was one, also a secret prompt for July. You had to sit outside and you had to read a book outside. Well, this was 18 hours and I read it outside. I listened to it on audio and I did a lot of cross-stitching. I cross-stitched basically while I was listening to it. 18 hours outside. It was really nice. I am not going to lie. I loved doing that. The book was okay. I will say the book was better than the movie. I did watch the movie. It took me 2 or 3 days to watch it. I'm still not a fan. I just don't like it. I don't know why, but I just don't like it. Okay, that's all we're gonna say. But I did it. So the next book that I read for the Jane Austen July was Read Something by Jane Austen that is not one of her 6 main novels. Okay, so one good thing. So Emma was classified in the readathon, and then an even bigger rainbow, because if you saw that cover was, I classified that as like a black color because it was really dark. Now, the one that I read that was not one of her main novels was The History of England. Open link. This one was, she wrote this as a young girl. This is a young adult middle school novel, and it talks about all the kings and queens. It was very informative. I enjoyed reading it. It was only 60 pages. I actually sat outside and read it on my deck too. It was a hardcover book. It didn't take long. I think I gave it a 3. Yeah, I gave it a 3. It was okay. It was very informative, but it was just, I read it just to meet the challenge. But I classified that one in my readathon and in the even bigger rainbow because, as you saw, that one was a green cover. The next one was read a nonfiction work about Jane Austen or her time. Now, I enjoyed this one. I read Jane Austen, her life, her time, and her work. I enjoyed this one. This was a Kindle book that I read off of Amazon. A lot of these are Kindle books, and I will link them below. So this was a Kindle book, and it just talks about her life growing up. It what I liked about it was it went through and talked about all the books she has written and each one of her works and what they meant and what she was trying to classify. And so I really liked that book. I highly recommend it. It was 60 pages, I think. Not very long, but I think I rated it a 4. Prompt 5 I did not do. It said read a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen. I have not done that. I just did not get to that. So I still got to finish that one before I can mark this off. Watch a direct screen adaptation. I watched Emma. I also watched Persuasion. I watched several of Jane Austen movies during the month of July. And then watch a modern screen adaptation or a retelling of Jane Austen book. So y'all, this is where I had fun with it. I watched the Hallmark Sensibility and Snowman movie. It was Christmas in July, and it was about the Dashwood sisters who own a party planning business. It was simple and easy to watch. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies, so I really did enjoy that. Now, that was what I did. I still have one prompt to do on this, and it's still nice outside, so what I'm probably going to do is find an audiobook, and on the weekends or after school, school has started back, I'm sitting here pointing like you can see me, go outside on my deck and read. All right. Now, the rest of my books that I read. I'm going to link my spreadsheet here and where you guys can view it. If you can read it, you can view it and see what I've done, and you can look at all of it. I'll make it to where, and I would love and I'll show you the rest of the prompts, and love some advice on what am I saying here? What I might recommend. So the next book I read, the first book I actually read was The Banishment. The Banishment and Intrigue. So I'm going to open that up. The Banishment. Now, if you like cozy little mysteries, this is like a cozy Regency book series. And it's by Marion Chesney or MC Beaton. MC Beaton is a name that she writes a lot of cozy mysteries. So this is the Daughters of Mannerling. It's a whole series. There's 7 books, and I'm using this as my a lot of my rainbow books, because all the colors in this all the books are different colors. But both of the books, The Banishment and Intrigue, they were based off of these 2 sisters. In Regency time, it was all about your status, your classification. They were very wealthy. They loved their house. They thought they were very proud. They thought they were better than everyone. They fell on hard times. Their house was lost. So the whole goal was to try to marry someone into the family of the new house. I won't go into all the details, but it's one of those cozy little things. It's not graphic. It's not smutty. I promise you, you could read this out loud to your mom or your grandma and not offend anybody. So that's how I look at it. Could I read this to my mom who gets offended at the slightest little thing? Yes, I could read this to my mom. I could read this series to her. The next one I read was Sport for Our Neighbor. I'm hoping this shows up. Yes. This was a Pride and Prejudice variation. It was 400 pages, so I did use it for by the hundreds. And it was about, Darcy and Elizabeth and Jane and all of them. I really enjoyed this, and this was just released in July, I believe. So yeah, this was a good one. I wasn't sure how I was gonna like it, but that quote in Jane Austen's book for Pride and Prejudice, the title is from the quote in the book from Mr. Bennet saying, well, what do we live for? To be sport for our neighbors and make fun of them in kind. So I enjoyed it. I used that one for by the hundreds in a new release. Housewarming. Oh my gosh, this one freaked me out, y'all. I highly recommend this one. It is a good murder mystery. It is a new release. When was that released? I actually have this on a planner, in my planner. This was August 2005. This was one of those free books I can get off because I'm on Amazon Good First Reads. I use Amazon Kindle Unlimited, so you get a free book every month. And so this was one of my offerings. And it's about some friends when they were young. They went to on a beach vacation for a week. 4 went and 3 came home. I think it was 4. Is it 5 friends? Sorry, 5 friends went on a beach vacation, and only 4 came back. And nobody knows what happened. So they had to figure out what happened. I highly recommend this one if you like a good mystery. I read it as for one of my newer books. Earl Crush. That one was good. That was another simple Regency romance. It was about a girl who did not want to get married, but she did not want to have to depend on her family. So what she decided to do was she showed up at this Earl's house in Scotland and said, listen, we've been communicating back and forth. Why don't we get married? You need money, and I have a lot of money. Let's just get married. Well, yeah, it got interesting after that. A lot of, she's very headstrong. She would be what they consider a blue stocking. Really enjoyed that one. So my books, and you're going to, hang on. Come on, sheet. Go back. Why aren't you going back? Okay. A lot of my books, I like to read a lot of romance. 2 Sides to Every Murder. That was in my subgenre of choice, and my subgenre of choice is romance. And I forgot to link this one. This one actually was a good one. It was also a mystery. It's a young adult, and I did it on my series Stairways because this is a standalone. So this one is about it kind of reminded me, started me out thinking of like Friday the 13th. They were going to reopen a camp that their family owned, and there had been several murders years ago. And so this was the first time they were opening the camp, and then the murder started happening again. Yeah, highly recommend this. It had a couple of twists. Of course, it's young adult, so there is young romance going on right and left. So it's good. Highly recommend. History of England. Hang on. I already talked about that one. Okay, so the next 2 that I read were The Perils of Lady Catherine de Bourgh. I didn't put the whole title in there because it's a long title. And then we have the Rushworth Family Plot. Both of these are part of the open link. Here we go. Both of these are part of the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney series. Now, Mr. Darcy is actually Jonathan Darcy. It is Elizabeth and Fitzwilliam Darcy's son. And Miss Tilney is the granddaughter of the Tilneys from Northanger Abbey. And they are really good about solving mysteries. When I read the very first one, I'm going to show you these. When I read the very first one, The Murder of Mr. Wickham, I was reading it and I'm going, man, he's got a lot of quirks and tendencies. Didn't like crowds, doesn't like loud noises, likes a schedule. And I'm like, I'm just wondering the whole time if he's on the spectrum, Asperger's, autism. I just couldn't figure it out. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Quit being an idiot, which sometimes I have to tell myself that. When I got down to the Rushworth family plot, so the Lady Catherine was from Lady Catherine from Pride and Prejudice. Somebody was trying to kill her. Rushworth, they went and to the Bertrams from Mansfield Park. And I went and read Claudia Gray. She's the author. And I went and read her. Someone had asked, would you consider Jonathan Darcy as neurodivergent? And she said, yes, he would be on the spectrum. And I'm like, oh, I thought so. But yeah, so I put him, that's what I put that. Let's see. All right. Bakery in Bar Harbor and Beach House in Bar Harbor is a series by Anne Rafferty. Yep. I listened to those on audio. And it's one of those cozy romances with a little bit of mystery. You know what happens, but you really don't know what happens in the background. It's just a good little love story. Bakery, she owns a bakery. The love of her life comes back after 7 years. There's a big secret, but there's also someone trying to break in their house. So, same thing with the beach house. He's a vet and a veterinarian, and she comes back after a messy divorce, and she needs a job. She's a nurse, so she starts working at his veterinary hospital. She cannot get over the hurt that he did her when they were at prom. Oh, and let me tell you, it was a disaster. I was listening to that going, I was embarrassed for him. Have you ever been embarrassed for someone? All right. The next one, y'all, is Archer. This one, Archer, is smut. Look at the cover. It is smut. And I read it. I did blush. I won't lie. But I needed a series that was 4. So four more, and this one is 4 Brothers, Reynolds Protective. So if you do not like smut, do not read this book. Do not. I enjoyed it. I did. It involves the mob, the witness protection program. As you can see, they're protective. So I enjoyed this. But if you're not into smut, this is not the thing you read. T is for Traitor. This is one of the last ones I read last month. Oh, well, that's the wrong link. That is proprietary, and I don't even know how to say that. Piquet. Anyway, this was another Jane Austen spinoff. It was a Kindle Unlimited book, and this one was Mrs. Bingley, Carolyn Bingley, went to stay in Bath with the Elliots and Colonel, and so it followed their life and the Elliots and the Elliot pride. Let's see. Please tell me. Okay, did I link the wrong thing? Still thing. All right. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's see. I don't write reviews. My books. All right. Here are my books. I'm reading these 2 right now. All right. Let's go to my red books. Come on. Open up my red books. This is a whole series about a haunted tea room. There we go. This is a whole series about a haunted tea room. It's on Kindle Unlimited. This lady has bought this tea house. It's got ghosts galore, and she can see them, and she's the only one that can see them. But it's just a simple, cozy mystery. So she's trying to join some clubs and, get out. She's new to the town and owning her tea room, and she says she goes to the book club, art club, trying to just find her niche. And as she's going on a walk with one of her good friends, they look up, and it looks like a body has fallen out of an airplane, and so she has to figure out who did it. Another one, it's kind of like a Jessica Fletcher. It is, there are several books. I'm on book 5. So there's 9, I think. Yeah, 9 books, so I got 4 more to go, and I'll have finished this series. But this was my tracker, just so you know what it looks like by the 100s. I still got to read a 500, 600, 700 page book, but I have a 500 page book that I kind of want to do, read all in one day, and I'll explain that later. I was thinking that maybe if somebody wanted to have either y'all want to have some stitchy time and I would have some reading time, and we could just sit and I would do a live and we could all read and stitch together. I would have to mute so Pasta would not join us. I've got to do a 24-hour readathon. That will probably be sometime around Christmas. Sub genres of choice. I just need one more. I've got Rushmore Family Plots because there was romance in that. Earl Crush, that was more romance. It's historical, really. Two Sides to Every Murder, that was a thriller book. Bakery in Bar Harbor, and Archer, that was just smut. My series staircase, there's 4 books there. I've not figured out the 2 books or my trilogy. So, Two Sides to Every Murder was a solo. I don't have any books. Yep, there. My to be read game challenge. I have my own game, and I'm going to come up with that in just a few minutes. I'm going to go on camera, and you guys can see my face, hopefully, and because mine's going to be a card game. The last 10 years, so I've done 22 through 25. I got to find something in 15 through 21. Adaptations, I haven't filled this part out yet. I've done some modern retellings, which I could put that one in my my Snowman movie. A TV show, web series. I've got to find a web series to watch. I tried the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, y'all. I couldn't get past the first 2 episodes. I tried. Disability Challenge, autism, main character. Heritage Month, so I've got to read something in each month that with these heritages, can't talk. I've got to find 5 books that were translated from another language into English around the world. So I've got to find books set in different continents, and I need one in Antarctica. I've got to start Googling that. All right, so this is the Even Bigger Rainbow. As you can see, I've got a lot to do still. Make a quote. So my quote is read books, drink tea, be happy. And I have to delete all those. But that's my quote. So I got to find a book that has the word read in it. Book, drink, yeah. Spooky creatures. I'm sure I can find something there. Become the Avatar. So mine was, my first one, water, beach house in Bar Harbor. Because it did have they have a beach on it, and they looked out of the ocean. They sat and, yeah, it was nice. My readathon challenge was my Jane Austen in July. I need to fill in my prompts. Animals. So house pet beach house in Bar Harbor, because she had a dog named Franklin, and the vet had a dog named Ginger, and they played intricate parts of the story. We have exotic pets, farm animals, wild animals, and zoo animals. So if you got any books. All right, so now we have the Even Bigger Queer Alphabet. So I'm supposed to find categories that with main characters. I'm going to be honest, and I am going to admit this for myself. I have a lot of, I'm going to have to use this with my students, because I'm going to need their help finding books like this, because this is not the type of book that I normally read. This is not the genre that I would pick, but I know my librarian can help me. So I'm going to expand my reading this year. And if you have any that would help with this, I would really appreciate some title recommendations. I have not looked yet in the Discord, but like I said, this is not usually my genre. So there's things I need help with. Favorite one for prompt 1. I picked in my planner, I put my birthday year, but I think I'm going to do the 500 pages in one day book. I think one day when I just need to sit outside or just a day to read, I've got a book and I love this author, and you're going to think, Vicki, can you read 500 pages in a day? Yes, I can, especially with this author, and I'll explain why later. Okay. BIPOC authors. I had to Google this because, y'all, I had no idea what this was. Because I was like, I don't know what this is. What is this? Where did it go? I've got it on my planner. So I looked it up. It's Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So these are authors like that. So I don't know. I've got to look. To be honest, I never look at the author and see what it is. So I'm going to have to figure that out. New releases. So you got 60 days. So I read June, Sport for Our Neighbors. August, The Housewarming Party. This was published in August, so I've got to find one for June, which I think I know it for July, and I'll probably read that this month. And then I got my new one for September already also. Okay. challenge yourself. So this spreadsheet is a different challenge. So my challenge is, last year I read 365 days in a row on my Kindle Unlimited. So my challenge to myself this year is to read another one. All right, 366, because last year was a leap year. So I started at 552 days. And if I meet that challenge again, I will have read 917 days total. Okay. Nonfiction challenge, I read Jane Austen, Her Times in Her Life, so I've got to figure out I've got to read some different ones. And then the last one is I've got to pick 3 books that she's reviewed and what I think about them. So that's easy. So let's go back to my bingo board. So this is what the bingo board looks like. I will link my sheet, and I will also link the challenge if anyone is interested in doing that. Okay, I'm going to sign off here, and then I'm going to go on screen so you guys can help me pick my TBR.